Kami ng mga maiinit na balita sa mundo ng palakasan. Power and Play, kasama niyo ako, Noli Iyala, tuwing Sabado mula alas 8 hanggang alas 10 ng umaga sa Radyo 5, 92.3 True FM. Dito tayo sa totoo.
Dito tayo sa totoo. Masarap pakinggan ang katotohanan. Dito tayo sa totoo. Walang kasinungalingan. Tunay na kapatid, iyong maaasahan. Saan man sa bansa at sa mundo na may Pilipino. Dito tayo sa totoo.
25,000 watts ng totoong tunog ng FM radio.
Totoong pinalakas, totoong pinagtibay ng mga batikang mamamahayag sa paghahatid ng news,
Public service,
entertainment,
music,
information at inspiration para sa bawat kapatid, bawat Pilipino. Ito ang 92.3 Radyo 5 True FM. Dito tayo sa totoo.
Mukhang kailangan ko na naman palitan ng bubong ko, pare. Mag-iisang taong pa lang yan. May tulo na kagad.
Ay, bossing! Baka naman kasi hindi matibay yung ginamit nyo. Dapat ang gamitin mo ay cherry loom, ang yerong aluminum. Basta yero, cherry loom. Tibay protektado sa pangmatagalang yero.
Mainit at makabuluhang talakayan tungkol sa sports, kumpleto yan dito sa Power and Play. Mula sa mga paborito at naglalakihang atleta hanggang sa mga natatanging Pinoy sports figures na dapat nyong makilala, ihahatid yan dito sa Power and Play.
Sa kapwa ko Pilipino, ipagmalaki ang galing na meron tayo. Ilantad ang likas nating talento at magdala ng saya sa mundo. Sa harap ng pagsubok ay di susuko. Para sa pangarap tayo'y porsigido. Magpakitang gilas na at huwag magpatalo. Ipagdiwang natin ang Pilipino.
Yan ang Pinoy.
Mula noon at hanggang ngayon, talento natin ang bida. Mula sa simpleng bakuran hanggang entablado natin ipakita. May pagsubok man ng Pinoy, pinalalakas ng saya. San man tayo sa pulo, Chumbe, Sibay, Lakay, Aniga. Sama-samang pakita ang galing natin katropa. Sa kapwa ko Pilipino. Yan ang Pinoy.
Drama, kontrobersiya at tagumpay. Yan ang nagbibigay ng anghang at kulay sa mundo ng palakasan at yan ang pag-uusapan natin. E di paano? Bangon na! Power and Play na! Power and Play with Noli Iyala. Magandang araw po sa inyo lahat mga kapatid. Nagbabalik po ang kasama tuwing Sabado ng umaga. Ito po ang Power and Play. Hatid sa inyo ng Cherry Loom, ang yerong may aluminum, Cherry Tigo, it's fun to drive, Chooks to go, ang nag-iisang manok ng bayan, and of course, True Religion, where passion meets power, and we are powered by Smart. Ako po si Noli Iyala, at naku, Abril 29 na pala. Pambihira, ano? Talaga pong katapusan na pala po ng Abril, kaya naman patindi po ang sikat ng araw, ang init po dito sa ating kapaligiran. At sana po kayong lahat ay nag-iingat. Talaga pong napakainit ng mga panahon ngayon. Kaya patuloy po tayong mag-hydrate at sumilong. Kung pwede, mas magsuot ng sombrero o di kaya ay magpayong. Ang mahalaga po ay wag tayong masyadong magpabilad sa araw. At kung kailangan naman po natin talagang magtrabaho sa ilalim ng araw, tayo po'y mag-ingat at laging gumawa ng mga hakbang para hindi po tayo ma-dehydrate. Pinag-uusapan natin ang pagtatrabaho. Naku, araw na rin pala ng mga manggagawa, sa susunod na araw. Kaya pala long weekend ito. Naku, pambihira, no? Ang dami siguro ho ninyo mga plano. Sana ho'y kayong lahat ay kung saan man kayo naroroon o papunta man, sana po'y maayos ang inyong pagbabiyahe at makinig lamang kayo sa atin dito po sa Power and Play sa pamamagitan ng Radyo 5 92.3 True FM. Dito tayo sa totoo. And of course, yung mga nakikinig dyan sa kanilang mga bahay, sa 1PH on Signal TV at sa buong mundo sa Facebook Live ng Power and Play ng 1PH at ng Radyo 5. Marami po tayong pag-uusapan. Sabi ko nga kanina, drama, kontrobersiya at tagumpay. Yan ang bumalot itong linggong ito. Sapagkat napakarami pong mga napag-uusapan, pamula sa game fixing hanggang sa mga pambihirang paglalaro doon po sa NBA playoffs. Kaya po yan ang ating mainit na tututukan ngayong araw po ito, basketball at iba pa. So simulan na po natin. Siyempre, sa talakayan, sa dami ng mga ating pag-uusapan, simulan na po natin sa ating Sports Weekly Highlights.
Power and Play with Noli Iyala.
Mariing iginiit ni Magnolia Hotshots veteran Ian Sanggalang na malinis ang kanyang pangalan kasabay ng pagkakadawit niya sa issue ng game fixing. Nadabay ang pangalan ni Sanggalang kasunod ng graft charges na inihain sa isang Singaporean businessman na si Kowa Wei Kwan sa Singapore. Nagbayad umano si Kwan sa PBA at Liga sa Thailand para impluwensyahan ang mga laro dito. Ayon sa report ng The Straits Times, tumanggap ng $5,000 si Sanggalang para ibenta ang Game 5 ng 2018 Philippine Cup Finals. Itinanggi ni Sanggalang yan. Hindi raw niya kilala ang Singaporean. Sabi pa ni Ian sa pagharap niya kay Commissioner Willie Marshall, and we quote, "Hindi ko ipagpapalit ang karir at dangal ko sa ganong bagay." Mula issue ng game fixing, lumutang din ang issue naman ng paglalaro sa ligang labas. Pinagmulta at sinuspindi ng Rain or Shine Elasto Painters si Bo Belga kasunod ng pagkakasangkot niya sa brawl na nangyari sa isang liga sa Cebu. 6 days without pay ang parusa kay Big Bo. Pinagmulta rin siya ng 15 days worth of salary. Pati ang teammate ni Belga na si Ray ng Batak, pinagmulta na rin ng 2 days worth of salary matapos mapatunayang naglaro sa iba pang ligang labas. Nanganganib naman ang kontrata ni J.R. Kinyahan sa NLEX Road Warriors matapos siyang maglaro at mapaaway pa sa Cebu. Lumabas kasi na injured pala itong si JR at nagpapagaling dapat para sa Achilles tendon nang madiskubring naglaro sa ligang labas. Good news naman! Bukas daw si TNT Reinforcement at Best Import Awardee Ronde Hollis Jefferson na maglaro para sa Gilas Pilipinas. Ayon yan sa column ng kaibigan nating si Quinito Henson. Pero para matuloy yan, kailangan muna raw alamin ng Samahang Basketball ng Pilipinas kung pwede pang maglaro para sa Pilipinas ang former NBA veteran. Naglaro na kasi para sa youth team at 3x3 squad ng Amerika si Ronde. Speaking of Gilas, problema na naman ng national teams ang players' availability at injury habang papalapit ang SEA Games. Out na sa biennial meet lineup sina Junmar Fajardo, Mikey Williams, Jamie Malonzo at RR Pogoy. Nanganganib ding hindi makalaro sina Japet Aguilar at Scotty Thompson. Ang good news naman, pasok sa pool at nag-commit na sina Christian Stan Hardinger at CJ Perez. Hindi naman na raw magpo-focus si Coach Shot Reyes sa kakulangan ng tao. Best team available pa rin daw ang ilalaban ng Gilas. Sa volleyball naman, gumawa ng bagong kasaysayan si Jaja Santiago sa Japan. Pasok sa Best 6 ng Japan V-League para sa season 2022-2023 season. Napili bilang isa sa best middle blocker ng tournament ang 6'5" na Pinay. Matatanda ang inanunsyo ng Philippine team coach Jorge Sosa de Brito na sinimulan na ni Santiago ang proseso para maging Japanese citizen. Sa ibang balita sa volleyball, kinuhang import sa Korea ang 2 Pinoy. Kaisa-isang Pinay na na-draft si MJ Phillips, lalaro para sa Gwangju Peppers ang Pinay middle blocker. Sa Incheon Korea Air Jumbos naman, maglalaro ang heavy hitter na si Mark Espejo. Sa boxing, ibinahagi ni Ryan Garcia na meron mole sa kanyang kampo kasunod ng pagkatalo niya kay Gervonta Davis. Pero nilinaw ng American boxer na hindi siya nagdadahilan sa pagkatalo. Napaluhod at hindi na nakatayo sa 7th round ng laban si Garcia matapos makatanggap ng liver shot. Ito ang unang talo ni Garcia sa loob ng 24 na laban. Unbeaten naman sa 29 bouts si Tank. At sa balitang SEA Games, nag-official send-off na ang Pilipinas para sa 1,233 delegates ng bansa na lilipad papuntang Cambodia. Mismong si Pangulong Bongbong Marcos ang nanguna sa send-off party. Nangako si PBBM na buo ang suporta ng pamahalaan sa mga atleta. Gagawin daw nila ang lahat para maging matagumpay ang mga atleta sa kanilang mga larangan. At yan po ang kabuuan ng mga balita sa linggong ito sa ating Sports Weekly Highlights. Naku, kita nyo naman, ang dami-dami pong mga nangyayari ha. Hindi lamang po yung paghahanda natin sa SEA Games, kung hindi yung dami ng kontrobersiyang bumabalot ngayon sa basketball. Ha? Yan pong game fixing, seryoso po yan. Seryoso pong usapin yan na dapat po ay talagang bigyan ng pansin ng PBA. Alam niyo po, yung game fixing ay hindi naman mawawala ang mga aligasyon na yan kung wala pong nagsasalita sa tabi. At kahit po yan ay matagal na, ha? Marami na pong pinagdaan ng commissioner yung mga ganyang klaseng game fixing allegations. Pero wala naman po talagang napapatunayan. Kailangan pa rin pong harapin yan ng ating Pro League sapagkat reputasyon na po ng liga at ng mga player ang nakasalalay. In fact, sa akin, importante dyan para kay Commissioner Willie na siguro bumuo ng isang independent fact-finding body. Ha? Hindi po siya kasali sapagkat yung pong allegations na yan ay nangyari daw sa panahon na po na siya ang commissioner. So mas mabuti na nga yung pabayaan niya na sa iba para po talagang makita ng tao na malinis ang hangarin ng PBA. Ang isa pang kontrobersiya, of course, ay ang ligang labas. Ha? Matagal na rin yan yung mga player na naglalaro pagka off-season kung saan pumupunta. Sa totoo lang, yung ibang teams dyan, yan po ay tinotolerate. Alam niyo kung bakit? Kasi dagdag pong bayad yan para sa mga player. Ang tanong nga hindi ba kumikita na ng sapat yung mga player na yan? In fact, yung salary cap ng PBA na pinag-uusapan, minsan kadalasan, hindi lamang minsan, hindi na nga nasusunod. Kaya po yan ang ating pupulsuhan ngayong araw pong ito. Ha? Ito po ang pulso ng bayan, hatid sa inyo ng Chooks to Go, ang nag-iisang manok ng bayan. Ito po ang ating katanungan. Ha? Sa likod po ng kontrobersiya tungkol sa mga salary cap, yung mga pag-alis ng mga player patungo sa ibang bansa para maglaro, at yan po mga larong ligang labas. Ha? Ang mga PBA players ba ay overpaid, underpaid, o sakto lang ang sinasahod? Ha? Ulitin ko po yan. Ha? Yan ba mga PBA players na yan na ngayon kung saan naglalaro para makakumita o di kaya ayaw pumasok sa PBA dahil maliit daw ang bayad? Talaga bang overpaid, underpaid, o sakto lang ang sinasahod? Kung gusto nyo po makasama sa aming talakayan, magbigay lang po nyo ng kuro-kuro sa aming Facebook page, sa Power and Play, o di kaya sa aking Twitter account @NoliIyala, at amin pong babasahin yan sa katapusan ng ating show kung meron po tayong panahon. Ha? Basta po, kami pipili ng mga mananalo. Again, ito pong Pulso ng Bayan na ihatid sa inyo ng Chooks to Go, ang nag-iisang manok ng bayan. Alright mga kapatid, bago tayo magpatuloy sa ating mga interviews ngayong araw pong ito, syempre, ihatid muna natin ang isang paborito nyo, ang patuloy na promo po ng Joyride Super App, Top Up dito po sa Power and Play. Napakadali lamang pong sumali para manalo ng 1,000 pesos JR Pay Wallet Credits. I-download lamang ang latest version ng Joyride Super App. Makikita nyo yung QR code. Pwede nyo na pong iscan yan. Ha? Kuhanan nyo po ng screenshot yung app's home screen kasama ng inyong pangalan at ipadala ang screenshot sa PNP Facebook page via PM. Isama nyo po ang inyong buong pangalan, registered mobile number sa inyong Joyride account, at sa kaduluduluhan po ng show, kami ay pipili ng 5 mananalo ng 1,000 pesos e-wallet o JR Pay Wallet Credits na inyong magagamit para po sa delivery, motorcycle taxi, at yung pinakabagong offering ng Joyride Super App, yung pong Joyride Car App. Very, very simple po ang ating promo ng Joyride Super App. Alright, mga kapatid, before we take a break, syempre, isa pong paalala mula sa ating mga kaibigan naman sa SMART. Puso Pilipinas is a movement to celebrate the Filipino athlete powered by SMART. Follow them on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Get a chance to win exclusive Puso Pilipinas merch by sharing their Facebook page in your social media accounts with hashtag Puso Pilipinas. The Giga Life app is the latest mobile app from SMART that lets you discover and enjoy your passions with the different Giga promos. It can be downloaded and used by Smart Postpaid, Smart Prepaid, Pro Prepaid, and TNT subscribers via the Apple or Google Play Store. What can the Giga Life app do for me? Check your balance, monitor your current subscription, top up using debit credit card, subscribe to the latest Giga promos, monitor your data consumption, auto-detect your mobile number when you are connected to Smart Network one-tap subscription to the most popular offer, Giga Video 99. And of course, Power and Play is powered by Smart. Live Smart! Alright, when we return, pag-uusapan po natin sa loob, sa isang mahabang panahon, sa isang mahabang segment, ang lahat ng kaganapan tungkol sa PBA at local basketball. Kasama po, walang iba kung hindi the Dean Quinito Henson. Ito po ang Power and Play. Atid sa inyo ng Cherry Loom, Cherry Tigo, Chooks to Go at ng True Religion.
I dare to dream big, to be a voice of my generation, to inspire resilience in the face of roadblocks. And in sharing my stories, I let others share in my passion.
Follow Kai's stories on Twitter and share yours with Smart Double Giga Stories. Share 2 times the passion with 2 gigabytes for Twitter and more. Guaranteed every day, plus data for all sites.
Simple, smart ako.
Nag-uumapaw sa real chicken juice. Naswak sa panlasa ng buong pamilya. Available in sweet roast, pepper roast, at harissa roast variants. Chooks to Go. Masarap kahit walang sauce. Tawag na sa Chooks to Go Delivery Hotline 8687-1010 o online sa chookstogodelivery.com or via GrabFood at Foodpanda.
From the Radyo 5 studios in Reliance Street, Mandaluyong City, in Mega Manila, 25,000 watts of true broadcast quality. Mas pinalakas, mas pinalawak, mas pinalinaw na tunog ng AM sa FM. Ito ang 92.3 Radyo 5 True FM. True FM. Dito tayo sa totoo.
Power and Play with Noli Iyala.
At muli po babalik ang Power and Play ngayong Sabado ng umaga. Alam niyo po, napakarami nangyari sa mundo ng palakasan, lalo-lalo na po sa mundo ng basketball. At of course, pagdating sa basketball, ang lagi natin pinag-uusapan ay ang katatapos lamang na Governors Cup Championship sa pagitan ng kampyong Talk and Takes at ang very worthy contender na Barangay Ginebra. At siyempre, pag ganyan ang usapan, sino pa ang pwede nating makapaghuntahan kung hindi the Dean himself, walang iba, si Mr. Quinito Henson. Magandang araw, Quinito. Thank you for joining me today on this very special episode of Power.
Magandang araw, Noli. I'm so excited to talk basketball and other sports with you.
Absolutely. And, bago lahat, because, I think I'll take this opportunity, of course, na hingin ang konting thoughts mo sa nangyari sa ating kaibigan, kumpare, and of course, a colleague na si paring Ed Tixon. A lot of things have been said, but what are your fondest memories and I guess the thing that you will miss most kay Ed Tixon?
I'll miss most his friendship. And even after our broadcast days, when he retired from broadcasting, ganun pa rin yung aming pagsasama. We would talk long hours about his work sa boxing at yung mga pangarap niya, not only for the boxers in their international campaigns, but also for the Philippine boxing scene, no? Because marami kasi nangyayari, no, in the international level where he was crusading for impartiality, for fairness. So that guy was a fighter. But what I really miss most about Ed was yung kanyang pagsasama, yung friendship niya. And all those years where we worked together in basketball and boxing, I learned so many things. It was not only educational but also entertaining. Yung mga pagsasabi niyang walang aling! Tapos likading! And every time he would open a show, he would welcome the audience from all over the Philippines in different dialects.
That's right.
Tapos yung signature farewell niya, yung see you around. Kanya nga nung nag-eulogy ako dun sa kanyang wake, sabi ko, well, Ed, again, just to recall your signature farewell, see you around, but not naman too soon. Sabi ko, not naman too soon.
Wow, wag naman Quinito. Nawala na si Butch Maniego, si Rory Nathaniels. Ang dami natin mga colleagues na talagang namimiss na natin. Of course, sila Joe Cantada. And but again, as Ed would say, his humor, I think that's something that we all love with Ed. And sabi ko, when I talked to his wife Karina, sabi ko, the thing I remember most about him was just our last conversation. Sabi ko, paring Ed, bakit parang nangangayayat ka? In his straight face, he goes, bakit? Ikaw lang ba pwede maging sexy? So,
last December, si Senator Manny Pacquiao revived Blow by Blow. And he was asking, sino ba ang magandang magpanel? Dapat yung mga original, sabi niya. So, I reached out to Ed. Sabi ko, Ed, maganda to. Balik natin yung blow by blow, yung tandem natin. Sabi ko, first of all, no sweat ito because it's fun. Tapos, and reviving blow by blow will bring back a lot of memories, especially since we were the combination that saw Manny Pacquiao grow from being a kid to a man. And sabi ko, Senator Manny is going to back this up. Sayang, ang ganda ng pagkakataon. Wala, he really didn't want to come out anymore. Sabi ko, maski na sa PBA. Kasi ang dami, no? On Twitter and on social media, as I'm sure you know, Noli, so many people are saying, especially when we came back to do Southeast Asian Games together after a long absence, ang dami nagsasabi, wow, balik natin regular tandem, Noli, Quinito. Tapos, si Ed Tixon, nawawala. Ganon. So I was saying, maski na sa PBA Finals, maski na one game lang, gawin ulit natin. Wala, he was completely retired from broadcasting because he wanted to focus on his dedicated passion and work sa boxing. And well, it bore fruit, no? 3 Olympic medals in the last Tokyo Games.
Well, as Ed would always say, sports is his passion. And of course, isa sa mga bagay na talagang tinutukan ni Ed was the PBA for a very, very long time. And yan ang pag-usapan natin, Quinito, ngayon as we segue from our very good friend and dearly departed Ed Picson. It's about yung Governors Cup Finals, kung saan, of course, nagwagi ang talk and text laban sa Barangay Ginebra. 4-2. It's their first ever Governors Cup Championship. Ano ang naging susi sa tingin mo, Quinito, sa pagkapanalo ng
Ako sa tingin ko, defense. Entering the finals, TNT was known as the number 1 offensive team. No doubt, they've got the firepower, they've got the 3-point shooters, but I thought what made the difference towards the end was the kind of defense that they played against Barangay Ginebra. They turned the tables around because Ginebra is known for defense, TNT is known for offense, but with Coach Jojo Lastimosa, he put a stress on defense. But in his humble way, tinanong ko kay Jojo, sabi ni Coach Tim sa akin, sabi ko kay Jojo, no, na he noticed that you really influenced your team to play tougher defense, and that made difference. Ang sabi naman ni Jojo, hindi, Kinit, sabi niya, I just follow the system of Coach Shot Reyes. I'm just here on an interim basis. Sabi niya, team manager ako, hindi naman ako coach eh. So, ang ginawa ko lang, I laid out the system of Coach Shot Reyes. I followed that system, but I put a little more emphasis on defense. Yun ang pagkasabi niya. And in Game 5 and Game 6, if you notice, sa Game 5 nung panalo ng TNT yung laro na yun, they ended the game with an 8-0 run. And to blank Barangay Ginebra, 0 in the final minutes of that game, something else. Game 6, ganun na naman, 5-0 run. And blanking Ginebra down the stretch to win a game, that means you're playing tough defense. That means you know what you're doing. The offense will take care of itself, but it's the defense, especially when you're defending guys like C-Stan and Justin Brownlee and Jamie Malonzo. Mahirap gawin yun.
Mahirap. Oh.
I also think, from Noli, this was God-given. This was absolutely providential. All the way from the downside, no? Justin Brownlee going down with food poisoning, opening the doors for TNT to win nung game number 5. Nung pagkawala ni Kelly Williams at the start of the quarterfinals, tapos pagkapasok naman ni Poy Eram, on the same game where Kelly Williams went out, Poy Eram became available after missing the entire eliminations. Tapos yung last 3-point shot ni Mike Williams sa game 6. Remember at that point, lamang ang Ginebra. Banda yun. Sabi nga ni Jola sa akin, in that kind of shot, which was about 2 steps away from the logo, 1 degree of a difference when you make a wrong angle in that kind of shot, hindi papasok yun eh.
Oo nga.
So,
actually, alam mo, nabati ni Coach Tim Cone talaga, even yung defense ang ipinakita ng TNT laban sa kanila. In fact, he said that Jolas brought something new, yung kagaya ng binabanggit mo, yung depensa. But there was also another observation when I talked to Jojo, Coach Lastimosa, last Saturday. Sabi niya, kahit papaano, his familiarity with Tim, that he knows hindi daw magbabago si Tim. He will always just use about 6 to 7 players in the finals. And that is something that he actually was able to, use and strategize around. Do you think that yung familiarity, of course, ni Jolas with Coach Tim helped him? Secondly, is yung injuries. No, obviously with a lot of injuries in both sides. No, but of course, ang Ginebra they lost LA, and of course for a while si Brownlee. Did that hurt the rotation ni Coach Tim at Quinito?
Without a doubt. Before the finals, meron na akong ginawang prediction. Sabi ko, long series, TNT. Short series, Barangay Ginebra. Really because Coach Tim is using a very short rotation. And sometimes not by design, but because of circumstances. Wala na nga si LA Tenorio eh. And he really relies on his nucleus. Halos wala siyang pinapalit. He had about 3 players averaging at least 40 minutes a game. Heavy minutes, heavy lifting ang ginagawa ng kanyang nucleus. On the other hand, sa TNT, only 1 player averaged more than 40 minutes a game. And that was Ron Day. Hollis Jefferson. So you can see that yung minutes being played by the players of TNT, malalim yung
Yes, mas maraming bunot,
yung pinaghuhugutan ni Coach Jolas kaysa kay Coach Tim. No?
I have one. I have one question about that before you leave that topic. Jeremiah Gray played more minutes in this series. Sabi ko nga kay Jonas, were you surprised na napakaraming minuto nung rookie, no? Jeremiah Gray over Stanley Pringle. Were you surprised about that? And secondly, do you think, Stanley Pringle, of course, nobody is wrong on hindsight, pero sa tingin mo ba, Pringle would have been a better choice to do more minutes or at least be given more minutes during the finals?
Well, I thought Jeremiah Gray gave them a new dimension because ang tawag ko, this is something very new, no? And I just thought about it. Jeremiah Gray at saka si Jamie Malonzo, yan ang thunder and lightning. Bagong combination.
Wow.
That's a new,
parang Fast and Furious, ha?
That's a new point phrase that I was thinking for next season. Pero sasabihin ko na ngayon. Thunder and lightning.
Kita nyo naman, ha?
And Coach Tim Cohn actually told me that yung pagkapasok ni Jamie Malonzo and then yung injection ni Jeremiah Gray gave him a new dimension. Whereas before, Barangay Ginebra was known to be a grind out, half-court, deliberate kind of team na hindi nagfa-fast break. In fact, if you look at the stats, lowest in the ranking yung kanilang fast break points, no? Because they're really very deliberate team. But nung pumasok yung dalawa, sabi niya, it's time to evolve into a team that can run, a team that can pitch it forward. And so he wanted to use that. He wanted to use that para makipagsabayan sa TNT. Hindi sila maiiwanan sa takbuhan. And that was the reason. Plus he said, with the length of Jeremiah and the mismatch that he can create playing the 2 position along with Jamie na 3 position. Tapos, nung nawala si LA, pumasok na si Scotty as their primary point guard. Para naging si Stanley Pringle just was given a role of coming off the bench. He did well naman, no? In one of the games, he was best player when he scored 22 points yata yun ang ginawa niya. Pero parang nawala na sa rotation because I think Coach Tim wanted to use a different kind of combination on the floor because he wanted to evolve Ginebra into a different kind of team now because, in this modern age, iba na ang laro eh. Pabilisan, 3-point shooting, di ba? Iba na eh.
Sabi nga ni Jojo, ni Coach Jonas, gusto rin daw bigyan ng exposure ni Coach Tim, obviously, si Jeremiah Gray, especially in a championship atmosphere like that. But let me ask you about this. No, this is the first time Justin Brownlee has lost in the finals. No, and obviously it came as a surprise considering na tinalo ng Ginebra ang Bay Area Dragons in the last Commissioner's Cup with Justin Brownlee against those big towering imports ng Bay Area Dragons. Has TNT found the antidote in Ronde Hollis Jefferson, Quinito?
Well, yes, I think Ronde played a major role. But I think the big difference between the Ginebra that played Bay Area and the Ginebra that lost to TNT was LA Tenorio. They had LA against Bay Area, but against TNT, nawala na si LA. No? And LA plays such a major role in that team, keeping them stabilized, keeping them settled, making the right plays, and also providing the difference by bringing up the ball and setting up Brownlee. In the case of Ginebra ngayon, especially down the stretch, si Brownlee na nagdadala ng bola eh. He was the one setting up the play. Scotty was relegated to a role where he could probably get the offensive rebound or he could also be set up for a shot. So, ang dami ng roles na nilalaro ni Justin Brownlee. Wala na siyang katulong, wala na siyang LA Tenorio. And I think that was a big difference kung bakit sila natalo. Short rotation and the absence of LA Tenorio.
Of course, a big factor, as you mentioned a while ago, was Mikey Williams hitting that big shot, and he was the finals MVP nitong setting ito. Kontra do sa kabila na si Scotty Thompson na naging finals MVP na rin. Quinito, Mikey versus Scotty. This is a matchup that I guess will now become epic, legendary. And do you see this as one of those matchups in the mold of Jaworski versus Atoy Ko and Hec Calma versus Johnny Abarientos, in that kind of mold that it will carry this league, itong Mikey versus Scotty?
Well, that's certainly a duel that will be there for a long, long time. But I think both those players played a different kind of game. Si Scotty kasi is multi-dimensional eh. He doesn't get you only the playmaking, the rebounding, the shooting, ganon. Si Mikey is more of a gunner eh. This guy, I've called him the rifleman. He's really a gunner. He's not a playmaker. He doesn't get you too many rebounds. He can penetrate, but he can also read the defense very well. Ang ginawa or what Ginebra tried to do was to put actually a bigger guy against him. Ginamit nila si Jeremiah Gray against Mikey, because if you have bigger defender against you, your tendency is not to take the outside shot. They wanted to take away his three-point shot. They wanted to influence him to drive. Pag drive ni Mikey, may nakaabang na malaki. Pero alam din ni Gilas kung ano gagawin yung naiisip ng Ginebra. So they kept on giving him picks. So to force the switch. And if the switch is not quick enough, he'll get off the shot.
Correct. Yeah.
Sobrang galing din ni Mikey eh. Sobrang galing. But you're so right. No? The duel, that matchup between Scotty and Mikey, that is a duel for the ages. And we'll see that for a long, long more time.
Before I let this particular topic go, itong Governors Cup Finals, I guess your biggest takeaway from the recent season. We had three champions, different champions, from San Miguel to Ginebra to Talk and Tex, and of course we saw the rise of so many other superstars, including Christian Stan Hardinger, who has of course won the best player of the conference. Your takeaway, Quinito?
Ako, I'm happy that there are three different champions for the three different conferences. But I would be happier if magkaroon ng breakthrough yun naman mga independent teams.
Yes.
Not to take anything away from the MVP group or the San Miguel group, because they certainly deserve their championships. But I would like to see a little more balance and parity in the league, so that every game that the fans come out to watch will be unpredictable. I'd like to see Phoenix. I'd like to see Converge. I'd like to see Blackwater. I'd like to see Rain or Shine contend, be a factor. Nakita ko yung NLEX, no? Although nasa MVP group sila, maganda rin ang ginawa nila, no? And that made the league more exciting when you're thinking that yung NLEX nagpapanalo, yung Meralco nagpapanalo. But I'd like to see more independent teams, and I'm hoping that this coming draft will address the parity issue, no? Although I must say, Comnoli, that there is a looming danger in the draft because there is an existing rule, and I've mentioned this already to Willie, as well as the attorney Mendoza, and Chairman Ricky Vargas. No? May loophole ang PBA rules, and I want to be able to explain this here, if I may. No?
Yes, please, go ahead.
There is a rule in the PBA that says that if you are a rookie draft eligible, and you do not apply for the draft on your first year, you are given 3 years within which to apply for the draft. Tama? If you do not apply for the draft within the first 3 years of your eligibility, you are slapped a 2-year additional sit-out. I'm saying, dapat tanggalin na yung sit-out. Why will you penalize players who go overseas, who will be OFWs looking for the future of their families? So I'm hoping na-address na yun. Matanggal na yung sit-out. Okay. The rule, however, that I wish to point out is that if a rookie eligible skips the first year of his draft eligibility but enters the draft on his second year, the rule states he will no longer enter the regular draft, but he will be subject to a lottery involving all 12 teams given equal chances in the lottery.
Wow! So pwede mabunot ng isang malakas na team ang isang player na hindi pumasok.
Exactly. Right now, many of our rookies, and let's be realistic, no? Yung mga blue chip rookies, ayaw nilang pumasok sa regular draft. Bakit? Ayaw nilang maglaro sa Terra Firma at Blackwater.
That's the problem.
Yeah, it's a major problem. So gagawin nila, doon na lang kami sa abroad. O kaya, we'll skip this, we'll play somewhere else. We'll take our chances in our second year. Pag second year, hindi na sila dadaan sa regular draft, doon na sila sa lottery. So that will apply now to players like Justin Baltasar. Remember, he skipped his first year. If he joins the draft this year, Lottery na yan, hindi na papasok sa regular draft.
Right.
Kobe Paras, if he joins, ganun din. 30 Ravena, he will have played 3 seasons in Japan. He can come back and join the draft. Lottery na yan. Kemar Carino, ganun din. Richie Rivero, ganun din. So they will not go through the regular draft. What does this mean in the future? Yung regular draft natin will no longer be relevant.
Right.
Kasi yung mga magaling rookies, they will deliberately skip their first year, take their chances in the lottery.
Well, it's clear that they have to revise and review many of these rules, including, I suppose, yung salary cap and everything that relates to the draft, no? And of course, yung mga tradings, no?
Yeah, yung salary cap, I think eventually, it'll just take everyone to say, look, kalokohan ito, no? I think
wala namang sumusunod eh.
No, wala sumusunod. So, I think meron namang, everybody knows what's going on.
May ginagawa. Oo.
Yeah.
May ginagawa.
But yung draft is something that it's systemic eh. It's a systemic problem that has to be addressed because policy eh. Yeah. But it's good that the PBA board already acknowledges it, and I think they'll do something about it. Another rule that will be changed that I brought up, Connolly, is yung rule nila that field foreigners can no longer apply for the draft if they're over 30. Eh sabi ko, paano si Jordan Clarkson? He's already 31 years old. E paano kung after the NBA gusto maglaro sa PBA? Gusto sabihin, babawalan natin? Hindi naman siguro pwede yun. Jordan Clarkson,
right.
Right now, Jason Brickman can no longer play in the PBA. Ganun din si Kaylan Tiongson because they're already 31. So now, I've been told that the PBA will rescind that rule. So, the nice thing about the PBA is they're open. They're open.
Maraming rules din. And I hope that when they make those revisions, they also just look at the entire league more than, a few interests that can be served. Kasi minsan din, considering that there are multiple teams in certain conglomerates, that's also difficult. Ako nga, I would just take out that rule about trading as long as the PBA is stricter in terms of the trades, just to make it very transparent. Kasi nangyari talaga parang hindi nagiging transparent on trade. Now, balikan natin yan, Quinito. But let me ask you, because I want to talk to you also, now that the Governor's Cup is over, ngayon yung mga players ng Ginebra, and of course ng TNT, are going to Gilas Pilipinas for the Southeast Asian Games. Pero, the Southeast Asian Games is starting next Saturday, and ang ating team is only starting to get formed and mabuo ang practices ngayon pa lang. Should we be concerned given the time that they have started their preparation?
It's a major concern. We have a 28-man pool. The only 2 players in that 28-man pool who played in the last SEA Games are Junmar Fajardo and Arar Pogoy, and they are not available. Both of them are injured. So this will be a brand new lineup playing in the Southeast Asian Games. But we've got a lot of top talent. Justin Brownlee will head the cast. Scotty Thompson will be there. Jamie Malonzo has begged off because apparently he has a commitment to his family to stand in for a very close nephew at his wedding in the US. And this nephew has lost his parents. Si Jamie has been a father figure for him. So he's committed to go to attend this wedding. So hindi makakalaro si Jamie. Pero the other guys are available. No, I think Boy Aram will be there and CJ Perez. I think we're going to have a very strong lineup made up of all PBA players headed by Justin. So I'm hoping that even with the lack of preparation, these guys know each other. These guys know Coach Chot's system because one way or the other, they've already been exposed to the Gilas system. So nag-umpisa sila mag-practice only last Wednesday. It's Saturday today. So last Wednesday, nag-umpisa na sila at 6 p.m. sa Meralco. I think they're going to be, or they must have already by this time, done twice-a-day practices. So I think kaya pa. Although we hear reports that Indonesia has been training Australia and Vietnam is bringing in some Americans. So I think naman our players handa sila. This is the redeemed team of the Philippines. We want to get that gold back.
Well, sabi nga nila, matalo na tayo sa lahat sa Southeast Asian Games, wag lang sa basketball. And of course, we also know that this may be the start of the preparations as well for the FIBA World Cup. And talking about that, Quinito, the draw is going to happen today.
Yes.
Yes. And of course, we're looking forward to a good one for the Philippines. Quinito, ano ang may expect ng mga fans dito? And if you were the ones for the Philippines, you were the ones looking to pick up that ball, or saan mo gusto tayo maisingit, Quinito?
Okay.
Anong tingin mo?
Ito, pinag-aralan ko na, Cornoli, kung ano mangyayari sa Philippines in the draw. First of all, we have to explain that it's a very complicated draw. It's not a pure draw, it's a modified draw. Okay? Because the Philippines is the finals phase host, it was given the top seeding. Can you believe it? We've given the top seeding.
Ka-level natin ng US, yung mga ganyan.
Yes, we are in pot 1. We're number 40 ranked in FIBA. Pero kasama natin number 1 Spain, number 2 US, number 3 Australia sa atin pat. Okay? So that's a rare privilege. And okay, there is something else. There is a rule in the draw that you cannot have more than one Asian country in a group. There are 8 groups kasi, 4 of those groups will be playing in the Philippines. Okay? First round ito, the preliminaries. Ang Philippines will be in Group A. Ang US, kasi we chose US to be playing here. They will be in Group C. So, yung Group A and Group B will be playing in Araneta. Yung Group C and Group D will be playing in MOA. Yun. Now, under the system of FIBA, you cannot have more than one Asian, Oceania country in one group. You cannot have more than one Africa. You cannot have one country from the Americas. And you can have up to 2 European countries. Given that situation, ito ang parameters. Komnoli, the Philippines has 2 scenarios. We can have one team from Europe, one team from the Americas, and one team from Africa to join us. Kasi 4 lang yun. The other scenario is we can have dalawang Europe, okay, and then one from either Americas or Africa. Right. Those are the only 2 scenarios for us. Ito naman ang mga countries na pagpipilian. There are only 8 countries available for us in the draw. Germany, Italy, Greece, and Finland from Europe. If it's the second scenario, 2 of those will enter our group. In the Americas, our choice is either Brazil or Dominican Republic. And from Africa, it's either Angola or Ivory Coast. The ideal situation, sa tingin ko, ideally, ganito mangyayari. One from Europe. Sana ang pumasok sa atin, Finland. Pero meron silang NBA player. Pero isa lang yun.
Yeah. Okay? Si Markkanen.
Yeah, exactly. From the Americas, siguro ang pumasok sana Dominican Republic. Huwag yung Brazil. From Africa, ang pumasok sana Ivory Coast. If we get Ivory Coast, we get Dominican Republic, we get Finland and the Philippines in our group, we have to win 2 games to make it to the
Kaya.
Baka kaya.
Malian na lang natin si Lauri Marketing para
kung pumasok yung Finland.
Food poisoning. Biro lang mga kaibigan, Makakala niyo may sinasabi ako. No, that's very interesting. And I think all the fans are excited, of course, when they watch today kung ano mangyayari dyan sa festivities na yan. And it will be very, very interesting because ang dami-dami pong dumating ng mga basketball officials from all over the world. And of course, may mga sorpresa pa mamaya po sa draw ng FIBA World Cup.
Yao Ming nandito, Andrei Kirilenko, Dirk Nowitzki, all of them are in town. And here's the big news. Bukas na bukas, sa linggo, the FIBA Top Brass, along with Scola and Gabe Norwood, you remember, of course.
Yes, of course.
Na-posterize the Gabe Norwood si Scola. Magsasama sila sa tenement sa Taguig. They're going to look, to look at this new design on the cement hardcourt in the tenement sa Taguig, and all the top brass will be there. That will be at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Bukas na bukas yan sa linggo. Gabe Norwood and Scola will be there to open this this new design.
Abangan niyo po yan mga kaibigan, mga kapatid. Mamaya po yan, mapapanood natin yan dito mismo sa TV5 network. Quinito, let's move on. Just a couple of issues that I want to raise with you. Of course, one of the biggest things na pinag-uusapan ngayon na dapat siguro ay talaga namang pag-usapan at siguro talakayin ng PBA ay itong game-fixing allegations na nangyari sa isang Singaporean na ngayon ay humaharap sa isang kaso doon sa Singapore. No? His name is Koa Wei Kuan. And ang sabi niya, siya ay nagbigay ng bribes amounting to around $70,000 to fix the results of games ng PBA at ng Thailand Basketball League between April to July of 2018. He's been charged with 14 counts of graft in Singapore. Now, Quinito, I guess what the fans would like to know is, what do you know about this? And secondly, how should the PBA address this? Dahil may mga bali-balita na may mga PBA personalities na ini-involve nitong Singaporean na to, including Ian Sanggalang, including Leo Avenido, and some Blackwater and Terra Firma players. Quinito, your take on this?
Well, first of all, I'm very, very sad that something like this has happened, but I'm very happy that it's now in the open. Okay? Something like this cannot be tolerated. And I've spoken with the PBA Commissioner, William Marshall, and he's going to put his foot down definitely. He wants to do an investigation. He wants to get to the bottom of this. All of those PBA players who have been named, whether past or present, will be called, will be summoned, and they will be asked to shed light on what's going on. No? This man named Koa, dapat siguro makowa natin ito eh.
Makowa nito.
But kidding aside, this is a very serious matter, some names have been implicated. I've spoken with the San Miguel Corporation Sports Director Alfrancis Chua, and he told me that he point blank asked Ian Sanggalang, ano ba to? Yung pangalan mo lumabas. And Sanggalang, hindi ko kilala to. Ewan ko kung bakit na include yung pangalan ko. So we'd like to find out what these players have to say, and let's give them their day in court. I think it's also very unfair if their names and reputations are besmirched on the basis of someone who's apparently frivolously giving out names, like bringing out names from the hat. I think it's important that we be circumspect in this regard, because very tainting ito sa reputation ng mga players natin and sa liga natin.
And sa liga nito. Especially considering that, alam naman natin ng mga netizens, sa mga fans ng PBA, very sensitive about many issues involving the league, from parity to lopsided trades to salary cap violations. Game fixing is a serious charge. Pero ako, isang suggestion ko dyan, and I know that Com Willie would always listen to positive suggestions. Alam mo, considering that this happened already within his term in 2018, it would be good that he forms an independent panel, maybe led by the chairman of the board of the PBA, or even somebody independent outside of the PBA, to really get into this. Because, alam mo, at the end of the day, it is, alam ko na ang PBA, lalong-lalo si Com Willie, it's all good intentions. I know him from very, very long. We go back a long time away, and I know that he would rather just be, above this. And sige, kung ano lumabas. And I think that might be even better for the PBA, Quinito.
I think that's a very good idea. It's in the same line of thinking where Kong Willie established yung technical committee to look at trades. He didn't want to be involved in that. He left it up to the technical committee to come up with their independent resolutions of trade proposals. So the same thing. I know that the PBA is very close to Attorney Ogie Narvasa, and because of the Narvasa name and because of the legal character of the Narvasa name, perhaps he could be involved in a fact-finding committee, an independent one, to look into this, and maybe get the NBI involved, because I know si Com Willie also has strong connections with the NBI, and I also know that in many instances where there have been even a sliver of doubt on the integrity of a game or the integrity of players, meron na siyang ginagawang hakbang to make sure that everything is in the proper place. And so far, I think whatever investigations have been done in order, and nothing negative has happened. But this is something very serious, and this must be addressed right away. We cannot let this go on, no? Because this is extremely a priority and serious matter.
Absolutely. Well, alam natin na ito ay importante sa agenda, and we certainly are looking forward to more news about this. Quinito, before I let you go, medyo nag-overtime na tayo dito, but I want to ask you about the coming season for the PBA. Are there any changes? And I want to ask you specifically about two changes: the coaches challenge and the two-import rule. What do you think are the chances that there will be changes along those lines at yung kaya ay makakatulong sa PBA?
I think there should be changes, and there is a competition committee that is formed before every season, and this is made up of coaches. Coaches actually rotate the memberships in this committee, and there have also been occasions where members of media become members of this committee. I have been involved in the competition committee of years back, and I'm hoping to be named again because I'm excited actually to push for, number one, the coaches challenge. I'm also excited to push for other rules, in particular the no player timeout rule. I know this has been talked about, and some people are saying, can we just can we enforce this throughout the game but not in the last 2 minutes? Ako, it's all or nothing. FIBA does not recognize the player timeout, and as we are getting more and more involved in FIBA competitions, you can see that when a player is trapped or is not able to release the ball on an inbound, the instinctive, impulsive motion of the player is to call for a timeout. Walang timeout. Players cannot call a timeout in FIBA. So, while it is okay in the NBA, I think in the PBA, mas maganda kung tanggalin na natin yung player timeout and let the chips fall where they may. Kung give credit to the defense, if you're not able to release the ball and nandun yung depensa, sorry na lang, gagawa ka ng paraan. Pero don't call a timeout because that's a bailout. You don't want players to use it as a bailout, no? You give credit to the defense.
Lalabas yung mga may hina ulo dyan, Quinito.
Oo. At saka, pero in fairness and to give credit to the PBA, one of the new rules that they've instituted is, you cannot call a timeout when you're lying on the floor with the ball, di ba? You cannot call a timeout in a situation like that. That's why the referees will just call a jump ball or the play will go on. Kasi bailout ngayon, I think that's leading towards a no-player timeout rule. And I'm hoping.
There is a rationale behind that. Alam niyo po mga kaibigan, marami pa kulang ang isang araw kay Quinito pag kami nagkwentuhan. And I have so many other questions to ask you, but we're running out of time. And
we haven't even talked about boxing. No.
I know, we haven't even talked about your Miami Heat.
Yeah, Miami Heat.
You're on the brink of winning. But we will talk about that.
San Pablo.
Dapat mangako kang babalik ka dito to do a part 2 of this one because there's so much more to talk about.
Anytime, Noli.
With the team.
I'm honored every time you ask me to come on.
Oh my goodness, our ratings shoot up whenever you come on the show, so that's why. Quinito, thank you so much for joining us today, and we look forward to more of these discussions. Maraming salamat. Yan po mga kaibigan, si Quinito Henson, the Dean, of course, on Power and Play. And again, sana po ay nagustuhan niyo ang aming huntahan. Alright, at this point mga kaibigan, bago tayo mag-break, silipin muna natin ang ating mga pop culture at viral videos sa mundo ng palakasan sa Stop and Pop.
Power and Play with Noli Iyala.
Ito pong video natin napili ngayong araw na to ay tungkol sa isang bulag na hindi po pinayagan ang kanyang kapansanan maging balakid sa kanyang mga pangarap. Panoorin niyo po ito A blind skateboarder trying to do tricks. And look at this, just the perseverance nitong batang ito. Sabi nga nila, if you cannot succeed on your first try, subukan mo ng pangalawa. Kung hindi pa rin at ikaw ay tumumba, tumayo ka. And finally, baka lamang magawa mo. A blind skater does not give up, and so should you. At yan po ang ating viral video sa Stop and Pop. And we'll take a quick break. Sa aming pong pagbabalik, more of Power and Play.
I dare to dream big. To be a voice of my generation. To inspire resilience in the face of roadblocks. And in sharing my stories, I let others share in my passion.
Follow Kai's stories on Twitter and share yours. With Smart Double Giga Stories. Share 2 times the passion with 2 gigabytes for Twitter and more. Guaranteed every day. Plus data for all sites.
Simple, smart ako.
Nag-uumapaw sa real chicken juice. Naswak sa panlasa ng buong pamilya. Available in sweet roast, pepper roast, at harissa roast variants. Chooks to go. Masarap kahit walang sauce. Tawag na sa Chooks to Go Delivery Hotline 8687-1010 o online sa chookstogodelivery.com or via GrabFood at Foodpanda.
It's a true summer sa Radyo 5 True FM. Dito tayo sa totoo.
Tutukan gabi-gabi ang malalimang pagsisiyasat ng mga napapanahong balita. Hihimayin ang iba't ibang anggulo para sa mas malawak na diskusyon at impormasyon. Samahan sina Elreen Ando at Mian Los Baños mula sa Frontline. Tonight, Lunes hanggang Biyernes, 10:35 p.m. sa TV5.
Mukhang kailangan ko na naman palitan ng bubong ko, pare. Mag-iisang taong pa lang yan. May tulo na kagad.
Ay, bossing! Baka naman kasi hindi matibay yung ginamit nyo. Dapat ang gamitin mo ay cherry loom, ang yerong aluminum. Basta yero, cherry loom. Tibay protektado sa pangmatagalang yero.
On May 6, 2023, the King will be crowned. Makibalita sa makasaysayang coronation of King Charles III at ang pagdiriwang ng England bilang pagsalubong sa kanilang hari. Abangan ang coronation updates sa mga programa ng 92.3 Radyo 5 True FM. Dito tayo sa totoo.
Mukhang kailangan ko na naman palitan ng bubong ko, pare. Mag-iisang taong pa lang yan. May tulo na kagad.
Ay, bossing! Baka naman kasi hindi matibay yung ginamit nyo. Dapat ang gamitin mo ay cherry loom, ang yerong aluminum. Basta yero, cherry loom. Tibay protektado sa pangmatagalang yero.
Na-miss mo ba ang game kagabi? Gusto mo bang malaman ang latest happening sa sports? Like and follow us on social media. Pwede mo nang balik-balikan ang mga paborito mong games anytime, kahit saan. At pwede mo nang i-share sa tropa. Dito lang tayo sa nag-iisang go-to tambayan ng lahat at One Sports PHL on social media.
Mukhang kailangan ko na naman palitan ng bubong ko, pare. Mag-iisang taong pa lang yan. May tulo na kagad.
Ay, bossing! Baka naman kasi hindi matibay yung ginamit nyo. Dapat ang gamitin mo ay cherry loom, ang yerong aluminum. Basta yero, cherry loom. Tibay protektado sa pangmatagalang yero.
Ang first fun serye ng trending kilig duo, Gerald Napoles
Ngayon pa ba susuro ang PBA?
at Kim Molina.
Gusto ko lang naman ng simple at masayang birthday para sa anak na.
Ang pamilya ang bida sa pagmamahalan, ang bida rin sa katatawanan.
Hindi ko talaga makita kung ano nakita mo dito sa asawa mo!
2 minutes to mention. Best Nainay.
Best Taytay! Best family ever!
Team A, tuwing Sabado, 9:30 p.m. Tutok na sa TV5.
Dito tayo sa totoo. Masarap pakinggan ang katotohanan. Dito tayo sa totoo. Walang kasinungalingan. Tunay na kapatid, iyong maaasahan. Saan man sa bansa at sa mundo na may Pilipino. Dito tayo sa totoo.
25,000 25,000 watts ng totoong tunog ng FM radio.
Totoong pinalakas, totoong pinagtibay ng mga batikang mamamahayag sa paghahatid ng news,
Public service,
entertainment,
music,
information at inspiration para sa bawat kapatid, bawat Pilipino. Ito ang 92.3 Radyo 5 True FM. Dito tayo sa totoo.
Power and Play with Noli Iyala.
Muli po nagbabalik ang Power and Play, and of course gusto po namin magpasalamat sa lahat ng sumusuporta sa 6 na taon na ng pagtatanghal ng Power and Play. Unahin ko na po of course ang Cherry Loom, ang yerong may aluminum. Sa ganitong pabago-bago ang panahon, mga kapatid, sobrang init, tapos minsan uulan, kailangan natin ng matibay at protektadong bubong. Dapat ang bubong ay yerong may aluminum. Kapag may aluminum, tsak na pang matagalan. At isa lang ang alam kong dekalidad na yerong may aluminum, yan ang Cherry Loom, tibay protektado sa pang matagalang yero. Cherry Loom, ang yerong may aluminum. Cherry Tiggo 8 Pro, how neat it is to have a 7-seater SUV that has a powerful engine, world-class safety standards, and the latest tech features. Bet you didn't know that the all-new Cherry Tiggo 8 Pro has all these features and more at a very affordable price range. Cherry Tiggo 8 Pro is equipped with a 1.6 turbocharged gasoline direct injection engine, an advanced driver assistance system, and 12 other safety features, including intelligent high beam control, traffic jam assist, and lane keeping assist. The flagship Tiggo 8 Pro allows you more control of the wheel. What's great is you can also join the green revolution with Cherry Tiggo 8 Pro plug-in hybrid electric vehicle or PHEV. So book a test drive now via www.cherryauto.ph or visit a Cherry dealership near you. Chooks to Go, ang nag-iisang manok ng bayan. Subukan ang kanilang pinakabagong oven-roasted chicken na mas pinasarap dahil sa nag-uumapaw na flavorful chicken juice. Subukan ang kanilang harissa roast, sweet roast at pepper roast. Try also Chooks, the first dine-in restaurant ng Chooks to Go. Chooks to Go, ang nag-iisang manok ng bayan. True Religion is in the Philippines, where passion meets power. Experience it firsthand. For your best style choices, visit True Religion at Conrad S. Maison Mall of Asia Complex, Resorts World Manila, and Hacienda Designer Outlet Silang, Cavite. Visit also their newest branch at Grand Wing Newport City, Resorts World Manila. True Religion, where passion meets power. Joyride, ang bago ninyong kasundo. Mga kasundo, first booking nyo. Use promo code JRMC Taxi, 50% off on your first motorcycle taxi ride. Book Joyride's motorcycle taxi for safe, affordable, quality, and fast rides. So ano pang hinihintay nyo? Download the JR Super App on Google Play Store and the App Store. Joyride, ang bago ninyong kasundo. Elms Seafood Paluto. The latest offering of the Elms Resto Bar Group, located at Unit 2, Ground Floor, Calle Bistro, Ever, Commonwealth, Quezon City. Enjoy their delectable seafood menu in a relaxed casual dining atmosphere for your salo-salo seafood meal. Elms Seafood Paluto. Skin, your face and body anti-aging center with branches at Alabang Town Center and Green Hills, San Juan. For your skin assessments and treatment schedule, please call 0917-890-1640 or 0977-809-8886. Asea Subic Beach Resort. Experience the getaway that you deserve and dive into limitless happenings, rejuvenating experiences, and gastronomic adventures. Asea Subic Beach Resort. And of course, Power and Play is powered by Smart. Live Smart. At muli nagpapasalamat tayo sa lahat po ng tagapagtaguyod ng Power and Play. At ngayon po mga kapatid, ito na, alam nyo kanina pa natin nabanggit yung drama at aksyon na nangyayari ngayon sa mundo ng sports, lalong-lalo na sa NBA playoffs, kung saan yung first round ay mas mainit pa sa tag-init ng ating bansa. No? Talaga pong sizzling hot yung first round ng NBA playoffs. And to talk about that with us today, walang iba kundi ang mga sumusunod sa NBA and of course, mga paborito ninyong mga sportscasters. Walang iba kundi si Paolo Del Rosario, Carlo Pamintuan, and Coach Charles Tiu. Magandang araw, gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining me today. I know that you're very, very busy, pero maraming salamat talaga.
Always a pleasure. So,
Long weekend pa naman eh. Kaya alam ko, so, may mga plano to. But,
basta sports fight tayo. Basta basketball.
Yan ang masarap dyan eh.
At saka madagdag ko lang, hindi po kami masyadong nakakasunod ni Paolo kasi parehong eliminated yung teams namin. Kaya ano lang kami.
Napaka-unbiased po namin.
Konti-konti lang yung panonood namin ng NBA.
Alam ko si Pao ang sinusundan niyan, di ba? Utah.
Oo.
Okay.
Opo. Carlo naman, Dallas Mavericks.
Dallas, yun. Kaya pala kanina may bahid ng luha si Carlo at saka medyo masungit si Paolo. No, but, maganda naman ang pinakita. Yun lang talagang inalat si Luka Doncic. But let's talk about the remaining teams that are in the first round of the NBA playoffs. At ang sabi ko nga kanina, mainit pa sa tag-init ng ating bansa. And let me go straight. Of course, the biggest series and talaga namang nagitla, nagulantang ang buong mundo ay yung pagkatalo ng Milwaukee Bucks, the top-seeded team in the NBA. They finished number 1 in the elimination round overall. They have, of course, a 2-time MVP and natalo sila sa isang play-in team, no? Na, well, alam naman nating may tradition for winning, but still, obviously mas maliit sa kanya. So let me ask first, siguro yung medyo hindi pa naman masungit, si Coach Charles. So nahin ko na si Coach Charles. This is a big win for the Heat. Charles, what was the key factor, do you think, na that led to this victory by the Miami Heat?
Well, I think number one, we give credit to si Jimmy Butler. I mean, he just basically, I'd say, willed his team to a series win. Those last 2 games were just excellent, diba? His 56-point performance, na mukhang talo na sila out of nowhere. They come from behind, make it a ball game, and then the very next game, a big shot to force overtime. Also another great performance. Pero, I mean, as much as you give credit for Butler, credit to Butler and the Heat, you kind of wonder, ano nangyari sa Bucks? I mean, you don't see champion teams like them. I mean, they did win a championship recently. Just collapse like that, diba? Medyo shocking and disappointing, to be honest. I do think, to be honest, personally, the injury of Giannis kind of changed things. I know they won 1 game without him, but he missed most of the first game and then he missed another game. So, parang iba eh. That was a series changer for me. But, I still think Miami deserves all the credit in the world.
This is the first time since 2012 na nanalo yung 8th-seeded team against the top-seeded team of the conference. That was the Philadelphia 76ers losing to the Chicago Bulls. Kaya alam ko yan. Sakit din nun. halos magluksa ako nun. But, Pao, sabi ni Coach Charles, it's a wonder. And everybody's really asking that question about the Milwaukee Bucks. So let's play a little bit of a game here. Kung meron kang pie na 8 pieces, you have a blame pie, as we can call it. Where do you put the blame? Who gets the slices here, Pao?
Para sa akin, it's actually on the coach, si Coach Budenholzer, simply because I think yung pieces ng Milwaukee Bucks as a whole, more talented, even from top to bottom, marami din injuries yung Miami Heat. Tyler Hero wasn't also playing. I know Giannis missed a couple of games, but Tyler Hero was one of the bigger pieces for the Miami Heat. And still, by hook or by crook, itong Milwaukee Bucks weren't able to pull it off against the Miami Heat. At I think alam natin kung ano nangyari towards the end of that game. May mga timeout pa sila, hindi tinawag. And you have to wonder, was this coaching choices that allowed Miami to get back into the series to beat the Milwaukee Bucks the way that they did? So para sa akin, nasa coaching din yun, because they have an MVP caliber player. They have they have proven talent, championship level talent. So what didn't work out para sa akin? Nasa bench, nasa coaching staff.
At the end of the day, Carlo, you're talking about 2 superstars, Giannis Antetokounmpo and of course Jimmy Butler. Na in this particular series, very glaring ang naging difference nila in the way they took over this particular series.
I just want to go back to the point that you made earlier, because as a Mavs fan, the only thing that I can celebrate right now is that the Dallas Mavericks are no longer the worst top-seeded team to lose to an 8th-seeded team. Alam natin nangyari yan, no? Dallas and Golden State time nila Baron Davis. I can forget about that series and say that even the Miami Heat fans, pag sinasabi nilang di mananalo yung Miami, they were saying Miami in 7. No one expected Miami in 5. So, I mean, I don't think that you can say much about Giannis and his performance compared to Jimmy Butler. But again, riding what Coach Charles said, the injury really took a lot of confidence away from the Milwaukee Bucks. And gutom lang talaga yung Miami. And when you know that you have a hungry and an inspired Jimmy Butler, siya talaga yung isa sa mga players na pagkakatiwalaan mong bubuhatin, gagawin lahat-lahat ng posible to carry his team to win.
56 and 42 in his last 2 games. Just an incredible and virtuoso performance ni Jimmy Buckets. Let's go to another series talking about injuries, no? And then let's talk about the series of the Suns and the Clippers, kung saan the injury bug was very, very prominent, no? 4-1 victory para sa Phoenix Suns. And again, yung injury dito, timing lang ang nangyari. Yung Suns, gumaling yung mga injured, yung Clippers, nagkaroon ng injury. So let me ask you, Pao, before I go to Coach Charles, how far can these Phoenix Suns go?
Alam mo, arguably, they still have the best player in the league in Kevin Durant. I mean, even if the numbers don't say it in terms of yung regular season, I don't think a lot of people will debate with me whether or not talent level-wise and star power level-wise, itong si Kevin Durant is top of the class. So, you're probably as good, yung ceiling mo is as good as your best player. And they probably might have the best player in every series. Maybe not against Denver, going against Nikola Jokic, but let's see. I think that's what we're going to find out. And I think that if they can get past Denver, I think they could be finals to make it to the finals.
I will ask about that. I will ask about that particular series. Pero Coach Charles, sabi nga ni Pao, they arguably have one of the best players in the NBA today, which is Kevin Durant. But it was Devin Booker, and he is the leading scorer in the playoffs. Is this the Devin Booker team, sa tingin mo, over Kevin Durant? And how do you see the synergy between the two? And that's why it's become a very successful tandem so far.
I think definitely it's his team. You see Kevin Durant kind of deferring to him also. Kevin Durant picking his spots. But parang with these two, you can't go wrong. It's like, sige, pag medyo pagod na si Booker, ikaw naman Durant and vice versa. But I really think the impact of Durant to Booker has been tremendous. You know, obviously, with Durant there's one guy you can't help off. Like, you put him on the weak side, they have to pay attention to Kevin Durant, and that really opens things up for Booker. Kasi dati nung mag-isa lang si Booker, they can really collapse, send their best defender on him, help from everywhere. But now you can't help of Kevin Durant because he'll make you pay, and then Chris Paul's still there. So, I mean, I think having Kevin Durant by his side is a game changer. But again, I mentioned this guesting with Paolo also on his show na, you know, give Devin Booker a lot of credit. He's one of these guys na yung heat check. When he's in the zone, he's in the zone. Ibang level talaga yung hot hand niya. Like, just get him the ball when he's on. And he's playing really good basketball. Right? Parang, if I'm not mistaken, more than 10 points per game siya in the playoffs compared to the regular season. I mean, the increase, I could be wrong, but parang yun yung from my memory.
And of course, he was injured for a very long time. So, medyo mas fresher siya than the rest of the guys. Carlo, where do the Clippers go from here? Now, when you look at their lineup, that is a supercharged team, especially on defense. But the Paul George and Kawhi Leonard tandem and experiment, in the past few years, they've only played 41% since 2019 and only 38 games this year. Anong dapat gawin ni Steve Ballmer?
Come first, as an unapologetic Russell Westbrook fan, I enjoyed the experience. I will cheer for him from the start until the end. It was fun to actually see Russell Westbrook try. Parang nakalabas sa hawla si Russell Westbrook, enjoying being the man again. But for me, it's really difficult to determine a future where you cannot trust your main player. You cannot trust Kawhi Leonard to show up when it actually matters. You know, nakakarinig na tayo ng mga chismis here and there that he is not actually in a constant conversation with his coaches or with his teammates. So, I guess in terms of just looking at it on paper, yes, there's still enough. Yes, they're still young enough to try it one more time next season. But if it doesn't work out next season, I think you have to blow things up because, again, it's like banging your head on a brick wall kasi hindi mo talaga alam when that injury bug will bite and when Kawhi Leonard will actually play those important games for you.
Can you imagine? Everybody was already saying that this could be the era for the Clippers, pero up to now we're still waiting for that particular success. All right, let's go to our third series na natapos na, which is really the Knicks over the Cavs. Wow! And again, that was a mild upset. Number 5 beating number 4. The first playoff win of the Knicks in 10 years. That is something to celebrate in Madison Square Garden. Coach Charles, let me ask you, did you expect this victory by the Knicks over the Cavs?
I wouldn't say I expected it, but I'm not that surprised. I mean, it really was, I thought, an even series, but the way the Knicks did it defensively was actually really impressive. I think I give Coach Tibbs a lot of credit. I was wondering for a while na he's always highly regarded as one of the best coaches in the NBA. Pero parang when you watch his teams, they struggle and they don't really do too well. But I think this was a great achievement for him, considering Julius Randle, he got hurt today. I mean, in their last game, he got hurt and he wasn't exactly healthy. But they found ways to win and they defended so well. Parang this is the first series since 2019 none of the teams averaged 100 points. It's a grind-out series. They held the Cavs the lowest scoring game in the entire season, and I think they played really well. Jalen Brunson's been solid, man. I mean, legit franchise, legit superstar, I guess.
I want to ask you about that, Pao.
Sorry, Carlo.
May iba nagsasabi. May iba nagsasabi, Pao, na it was because the Cavs didn't play well, kaya nanalo Knicks, and not because of the fact that the Knicks played better. Of course, Jalen Brunson, Mitchell Robinson was huge today with that with all of his offensive rebounding. But do you think the Cavs were a big letdown in this series?
I personally think na letdown sila in the sense that, okay, if they lost the series, I don't think that would have been a big surprise. But it was the way that they lost the series, because a few of the games that they had, it felt like the Knicks just had their number. It felt like yung mga problema na nakita nila nakita ng Knicks throughout the entire series in terms of yung depensa and yung offensa ng Cavs, it felt like they exploited it each and every game. So, for me, a bit of a letdown considering how well they played during the regular season. They were a bit up and down, but at the same time, come playoff time when everyone had to scheme for each other, it just goes to show you yung celebrated na big man pairing nila with Allen and Evan Mobley. They're still really young. Mitchell Robinson was bullying them. So, ayun, you take a look at all of that, they still have growing up to do as a unit.
And saka parang para talaga manipis and mahina. No? I mean, Mobley just couldn't move Mitchell Robinson from the paint. And what more is Julius Randle, who was, he's about 20 pounds maybe heavier than him. So that's something that really the Cavs have to look at. But Carlo, Heat versus the Knicks in the second round. If I had told you that would be the second round matchup, and I know that you probably didn't choose that in your bracketology. So lahat tayo, sira na yung bracketology natin ng NBA. But, Heat versus Knicks. So, one, it's unexpected, but who do you think has the advantage here?
Before I answer that, take Paolo's comment with a grain of salt because he just does not want to see Donovan Mitchell win with another team. Medyo kaya take it with a grain of salt. Going back to your topic.
Basta si Brunson.
Gumaganto lang ako. Natandun ako kanina. Going back to the topic, I think that this has not happened since the year 2000, I believe. Last na nag-match up yung Knicks and Heat. And it just takes you back to that wonderful matchup, Alonzo Mourning, Tim Hardaway versus Pat Ewing, and Latrell Sprewell and Marcus Camby. Parang may old school feel di ba? And it's always fun to see two teams that, not a lot of people expected to be here competing because these are two proud teams. Kita nyo naman yung pride ng mga New York Knicks fans. Finally, they have something worth celebrating. Yes, it took them, messing up Dallas's plans moving forward. But a healthy New York squad could only be better, could only mean good things for the NBA because it's such a proud culture. And then you can say the same about Miami and what they do there in South Beach. I'm really looking forward because this will be another grind it out type of series. These two teams are dogs. Diba? Parang ganun sila maglaro. Gigil, depensa, and it should be a fun series to watch for offense.
It will be. And alam nga natin, it's good that you reminded all of us about the history ng Knicks and Heat. Wow, those were the days when they would come to the games and hindi mo alam kung basketball o boxing ang papanoorin mo because of that rivalry. Pao, I will go, before I go to this next topic, but I want to ask about the Minnesota Timberwolves. They are eliminated. There was so much expectation after they picked up Rudy Gobert from your Utah Jazz. Was that the worst trade of all time, Pao?
Best trade for me, Utah fan ako eh. Pero just to clarify, napakagaling ni Danny Ainge kasi lahat ng mga starters ng Jazz na trade, all of them eliminated in the first round. Mike Conley, Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert, Joe Ingles, Royce O'Neal. Lahat sila nag-playoffs, lahat sila talo. Sana Wembanyama sa amin na next year. But talking about the Timberwolves, you're right. Very disappointing. It didn't help that injuries did stop Rudy Gobert. Nag-backspasm siya and he also punched the teammate. So, marami talaga nangyari sa Timberwolves. Napaka-dramatic ng season nila. It feels like every year, there's always something with Minnesota. And you're just gonna hope that there's gonna be one year na medyo kalmado and you never know, they can make it past the first round.
And of course, hindi mo pa nabanggit, Anthony Edwards is now facing charges for assault. So,
ang daming drama.
Hanggang kadulu-duluhan ay may drama pa. Coach Charles, it will be Denver now going to the second round. They defeated the T-Wolves, and of course, the Philadelphia 76ers defeated the Nets in a sweep. These were two teams na mabilis na naging serye, and of course, these are the two teams that feature the top two MVP candidates. What was more impressive, the Denver win or the Philly win?
To be honest, Philly win? Well, Philly kasi show mo to
Philly yung tamang sagot. Philly yung tamang sagot.
Well caught.
Parang tinitext ko dyan yun ni Carlo. Philly si Kom.
Napaisip ako dun na. No, to me, they're both okay, I guess. Because I thought very highly of the Sixers. I didn't give the Nets any chance to win at all.
No one did.
Yeah, I know. I'm happy for the Philly. They get a bit of rest for Embiid, who, alam naman natin is a little bit banged up. So that's good for your side, Com. The Nuggets, they handled the Wolves pretty well, although they had some late game scares against the Wolves. But again, nobody really gave the Wolves a chance. They're a bit dysfunctional, as pretty much you guys just said. So sa akin wala. Parehong okay lang. Not impressed. Pwede ba yan?
Okay, that's a fair answer. So let me ask you then, Carlo, kasi itong dalawang team na to, we're knocking at the finals door. No, obviously Denver, has always been a contender, and Philly had their chances even with Jimmy Butler during the time, and of course natalo sila kay Kawhi Leonard. How much better are these two teams now, and do you think that they have a pretty good chance? Are you a believer?
With all due respect to every other team that's still in contention, I do think that it will be Philadelphia versus Denver in the finals. I like that MVP versus.
You didn't read my bracketology on Twitter. Hindi mo nabasa yun.
That's a personal opinion. If it coincided with yours, I'm just all the more happy, Coach. But I think that this is their time. It's unfortunate na yun nga, no, may iniindang injury itong si Joel Embiid, but you just sense that they're fit for it. I mean, they've learned their lessons. They've shifted their roles a little bit. You can see James Harden actually taking a step back from the usual James Harden stuff and being more of a facilitator, mas tumutulong dun sa mga kakampi nila, and everyone's just engaged. We saw how Maxey basically carried them to an important win in that series as well. So I really think that it will be Denver versus Philadelphia, and that is just inevitable right now, in my opinion.
Well, I think they have the two best players in the league. So, it boils down to how healthy they will be in the second round. And, of course, if Boston will have anything to say about it, as well as the Phoenix Suns. Let's talk about the remaining series in the first round. And let me go back to you, Pao. What is the more interesting series, the Lakers versus the Grizz or the Warriors versus the Kings?
Lakers and Grizz ako kasi parang every game may nangyayari. May extracurricular activity eh. There at one point may bear poking, tapos may mga basta ang daming nangyayari. I mean, everyone loves AD, then hates AD, then doesn't like the coach of the Lakers, then maraming galit kay Dillon Brooks. So para sa akin, from a fan standpoint, gusto ko yung drama ng Lakers and Grizzlies.
Pao, do the Memphis dance. Do the Memphis dance, Pao.
No, I'm good. Di ako makakita. No, I'm good.
Do the Memphis dance, Pao.
No, we're good. We're good, Carlo.
I've always said that I didn't trust the top seeds of the West, and it's happening now. Unfortunately, even the East, sipin mo ang Milwaukee natalo pa, but I didn't trust Memphis. I didn't trust the Kings as much as, and even the Suns. I thought they were not going to make it, but now it's becoming a reality. Is it the inexperience, Carlo? The inexperience of the Kings? They're not used to this playoff. They haven't been here since 14 years ago. Do you think that's the case here?
I think so. I think that plays a huge factor to it, and you will see when it comes to the closer games, dun sa mga dikdikan, dun sa mga sa dulo na kukunin, di ba? Dun mo makikita yung championship experience ng Golden State Warriors. It's not to say that Sacramento is not building something special here. I mean, it's pretty clear that they have a special group of guys, and if they keep it together, they can go for longer playoff runs in the future. But as of this moment, I think it was already their biggest achievement to actually qualify for the playoffs. Making it to the next stage, it'll be tough, especially against the killers nitong Golden State Warriors, who are just getting into their groove, no? Nananalo na sila in road games, and they're showing that they can still be threats here in the playoffs as well.
So, Coach Charles, do you think that the Lakers and the Warriors can go all the way? Of course, they will meet each other in the second round if they win their first round. Do you think it'll be a Lakers-Warriors in the second round?
I think so. To be honest, I was hoping the Lakers would face the Kings initially before the whole playoff started, because I unlike you, Com, I actually thought Memphis were really that good, but of course they had injuries, and I guess, well, maybe they're not that legit. But I do think that we will see a Lakers Warriors. LeBron had a bad game. AD's been every other game inconsistent, every other game good, every other game bad. So I think itong next game, due na siya for a good game, because when AD plays well, they're a different team. I don't think Memphis has a chance when he plays his superstar level. But obviously we haven't seen it every game. I agree with Carlo on everything he said about the Warriors and the Kings. When you watch the previous game of the Kings, down the stretch, they were just making, game number 5, they were just making so many errors, the poor decisions offensively, turnovers, and then it's like they decided to let Draymond Green try to beat them, and he did. He had a great game on both ends of the floor, hit some big shots, high percentage, and his usual defensive stops. I mean, they're playing like a high-level team right now with a lot of confidence, and the playoff experience is just there. And I think that's also one thing the Lakers have over the Grizzlies right now. I mean, LeBron and AD, their playoff experience will, I think, give them an edge.
Before I ask you, and before I let you go and ask you about your predictions in the second round and potential matchups, I want to ask you about your takeaways in the first round, in particular in relation to our local league, the PBA. Of course, nakikita natin yung first round ng NBA, the unpredictability of the games, and it's very, very clear in the results. Carlo, what do you think can be something that the PBA can take away from this, and how can they possibly, make our games a little more interesting?
I think what you will see a lot from the NBA teams is that a lot of them were able to pick up superstars from the draft, diba? Yun talaga yung paraan eh. I mean, if you look at Golden State, they drafted most of their guys. Most of those players were picked up through the draft. So if there will be, something to pick up, it's that if you allow the younger talent to join a squad, and then you keep things together and let them grow and let them build chemistry, and then they could be threats in the future. Syempre, alam naman natin, in this current era of the PBA, it's dominated by the 3 champions, nitong 47 season, TNT and San Miguel Beer and Barangay Ginebra. But if you just allow the younger teams to be patient and learn from it, I think it's more of the teams staying patient rather than the PBA doing anything for them. No? Kung may konting pasensya pa yung mga kupunan in building and young talent, things could work out.
Paolo, obviously, the Lakers and the Miami Heat are a product of the play-in tournament. Is this a validation of the play-in tournament? And do you think that, there can be something like that in the PBA just to give late bloomers, especially those that are not from the big conglomerates, a chance to at least make it to the playoffs?
I agree that the play-in has been amazing para sa NBA kasi not just the fact that the play-in is fun in itself, pero it adds so much more meaning sa mga late season games because the play-in changes yung stakes all up the way to the 10th position. I remember the last days of the regular season, every day the standings would change. At one point, wala yung Lakers play-in. Next thing you know, they're seeded team. The next thing you know, they're playing team. So para sa akin, that's a lot of excitement. Pero to put that here in the PBA, I think it's not possible simply because napakakonting teams. You only have around 12 teams and that's not enough room. In fact, you could argue right now yung play-in, parang yung quarterfinals ngayon with the twice-a-beat advantages that we do have. So, in terms of that, the only time that I believe that we can actually add a play-in is kung dumami yung team sa PBA. Maybe increase it to 20, maybe 25, and that's the only time play-ins would actually make sense.
All right. Well, dati nagkaroon tayo ng wild card format in the PBA, and again, it's something that, of course, the PBA can always review. I don't wanna ask Coach Charles about his takeaways, except
Thank you.
I wanted to ask you about your officiating. Pero alam ko mahirap sa coach tanungin ang officiating because we've seen some controversial calls in this particular first round. But let me go, and we're running out of time. So let me ask you about your predictions in the second round. I'll go one by one, and just give me the team that you think will win. Let's start with the Nuggets versus the Suns. Coach Charles.
Suns by a bit. Barely.
Carlo?
Denver.
I hope Denver, though.
Suns in 6.
Suns in 6. All right. Let's go. Presumably, Sixers versus Celtics.
Yes.
Paolo.
Sixers yung tamang sagot. Sabihin lang natin in 6. Pero yung sagot ko for today is Sixers in 4. Pero Sixers yung malulusot.
Carlo.
Well, I already said I think it's going to be Philly versus Denver, so I'll have to pick Philly in this matchup as well.
Coach Charles?
Gusto ko ulit maimbita sa show mo, kaya Sixers. No, but seriously, if Paolo knows this, I said this on his show, I actually, for some weird reason, feel it might be Joel Embiid's year. I do have a feeling that they'll finally figure out the Celtics and find a way to make it all the way.
All right. Miami versus New York. Carlo.
I think this will be an easy one for Miami.
Paolo.
Miami 5.
Coach Charles.
Miami rin ako, especially with Julius Randle aiding. Although Hero missed might hurt him. Pero Miami ako.
And finally,
Julius Randle.
Warriors versus Lakers, presumably. I'll begin with you, Coach Charles.
I am praying the Lakers will win. I do think it's the Warriors, but sige, I mean, one last push for LeBron James. Lakers to Lakers.
Wow.
Warriors ako, sorry.
Warriors. And Carlo?
As much as I would love to say LA, I can't.
Right? Sorry.
That's
Warriors.
fair, man.
Oh, well, it's fair. And it's been a fun time. It's really great. I'm sure a lot of the fans are going to be following the games and wondering who just made the right picks among the three of you. But maraming salamat sa lahat ng inyong inputs. Thank you so much for joining me today sa Power and Play.
Thanks, Com. Appreciate you.
Thank you for having us.
Join us for a true summer sa Radyo 5 True FM. Dito tayo sa totoo. Paparating na ang FIBA World Cup draw sa Manila ngayong April 29, live sa Smart Araneta Coliseum. Kilalanin ang 32 teams na magtatagisan sa FIBA World Cup. Plus, special performances mula kina Sara Geronimo, Billy Crawford at global Fil-Am artist na si Sawiti. Huwag nang magpahuli at bumili na ng tickets sa www.ticketnet.com.ph. Mapapanood din ng live ang FIBA World Cup draw sa One Sports at One Sports Plus. #WinForAll. basketball. Abangan din ang FIBA updates sa mga programa ng 92.3 Radyo 5 True FM. Dito tayo sa totoo.
Hi, this is Abby Asistio. You're listening to 92.3 Radyo 5 True FM. Dito tayo sa totoo.
Power and Play with Noli Iyala.
At kami po ay muli nagpapasalamat sa lahat ng ating nakapanayam kanina, si Carlo Pamintuan, si Paolo Del Rosario, and of course, si Coach Charles Tiu. Pambihira talaga ang usapan pagdating sa basketball. Well, ngayon, at sa ating pong punto ngayon, ay ating pong ipapasok na ang ating ilalagay na celebrity athlete in the spotlight.
Power and Play with Noli Iyala.
Siya po ay isang Tokyo Olympian at double Southeast Asian Games silver medalist. At ngayon po siya ay naghahangad na angatan pa naging performance niya hindi lamang sa Olympics, kung hindi na rin po sa Southeast Asian Games. Kasama po natin ngayon, walang iba kung hindi ang ating pinagmamalaking weightlifter, Elreen Ando. Magandang araw, Elreen. Thank you for joining us sa Power and Play.
Good morning po, sir.
Salamat sa pagdalo sa amin ngayon. Unang-una, first time ko sa show and ako'y natutuwa, Elreen, na makasama ka. Kamusta ang paghahanda mo? Nasa Pilipinas ka ba, Elreen?
Yes po, sir. Nasa Manila kami nag-training po ngayon, sir.
Alright. Kailan kayo aalis? Patungong, unahin mo muna siyempre yung Asian Weightlifting Championship, no? Nagaganapin sa Korea.
Yes po, sir. Yung first na second qualifying po ng Olympic po.
Okay, second qualifying, and of course napakahalaga nito sapagkat ito ang magiging ticket mo patungo sa Paris Olympics. Elreen, alam natin na ikaw ay bumaba sa timbang mula sa 64 kilograms, bababa ka sa 59. Kamusta ang kondisyon mo ngayon at ang paghahanda mo para dun sa pagbabagong yon?
Yung po, sir, conditioning po, ready na po talaga for sir, for the game. And sa preparation for for the game po, 100% naman na ready na talaga nasa sabak, sir.
Alam mo, mahirap yung ginawa mo kasi siyempre 5 kilo ang tinanggal mo sa iyong timbang. Anong mga sakripisyo ang ginawa mo, Elreen, para maabot yung timbang na yan?
Sir, yung pag-adjust ng pagkain po at saka iwas sa mga mabibigat na mga pagkain po.
Pero dahil bumaba ka nga sa timbang, yung ba nakapagbabawas din ng lakas mo o meron kang ginagawang diet o nutrition program para mapanatili mo yung lakas mo para lumaban dyan sa kategoryang yan?
Po, sir, parang ginaguide din naman ako sa sir, sa nutritionist ng PSC po, sir, na assign po sa canteen po namin, sir, na yung nilibre kami ng pagkain ng PSC po. Tapos parang every kain ko po, parang magaguide na lang po yung nutritionist ng PSC para sa pagkocontrol ng mga pagkain, sir.
So, kumpiyansa ka ba? Kampante ka ba na hindi nawala ang lakas mo at kaya mong lumaban dyan sa mas mababang timbang?
Yes, sir. Kayang-kaya po, sir.
Kayang-kaya. Alright, pag pinag-uusapan yung Asian Weightlifting Championship, ano ang goals mo, Elreen? Ano ang nakikita mong magiging target mo sa para buhatin dyan sa laban na yan?
Sa po, sir, yung mga pinag-iensayo ko dito sa training namin sa Manila. Sana po, sir, mas ma-improve pa po siya at mas malaki pa yung mabubuhat ko sa Asian po.
Oo. Ang pinaka mabigat na nabuhat mo is about 222 kilograms total, di ba, Elreen? Mga ganun ang personal best mo ba?
Yes, sir. Nung Olympic po, sir.
Oo. Okay, ngayon, ano ang tina-target mo? Mas higitan pa yung 222?
Yes po, sir. Mas lalamangan po yun, sir.
Kasi ang timbang na binuhat ni Heidelin Diaz para makuha yung gintong medalya was 224. So, talagang ang target mo beyond yung record na yon, ha?
Ano po, sir, sana po mas more than pa doon sa total na nakuha po ni ate po, dati po.
Alright, well, malaking hamon para sa iyo, Elreen, of course, at malaking sakripisyo ang ginawa. I wanna ask you, dahil noong huling Asian Weightlifting Championship, talagang napakaraming magagaling na sumabak. And of course, alam natin ito ay patungo sa Olympics. Ano ang nararamdaman mo? Dahil ang balita ay makakatunggali mo doon mismo si Heidi. Ano nararamdaman mo? Totoo ba to, Elreen?
Yes po, sir. Dalawa po kami mag-compete for 59 kilogram for Philippines po.
Anong nararamdaman mo na ang makakaharap mo hindi lamang ay isang Olympic gold medalist, kung hindi mismong kababayan mo na of course ay pinagmamalaki nating lahat?
Parang ano din, sir, inspired din ako na maglaro kasi sa isang category po kasama ko si ate po at saka isa ko sa idol po na yung idol ko nakasama ko sa isang category po.
Elreen, ito ang unang yung pagtatagpo ni Heidelin sa Olympic qualifier. Possibly, 4 na beses kayong maghaharap dyan. May halo bang panghinayang na kung talunin mo man si Heidelin, ay maaaring ikaw na ang magtapos sa sa bid ni Heidelin na maging double gold medalist sa Olympics? Meron bang konting na panghihinayang sa sarili mo o para sa iyo laban lamang ito?
Ano lang po, sir, para sa akin lang po, sir, sports lang po talaga, sir.
So, kung kahit na siya ang makakatapat mo at kung ikaw man ang pala rin, wala tong personalan, talagang nagkakataon lang. And are you confident, Elreen, na tatalunin mo si Heidelin?
Hindi naman sa gano'n na talunin, sir. Masaya din ako na kung ano man yung makukuha namin ni ate. Ganun lang po. Support lang po.
Alright. Well, of course, after that, tuloy kayo patungo sa Southeast Asian Games sa Phnom Penh, sa Cambodia. Ano ba plano ng team? Uuwi muna kayo ng Maynila bago nagpunta ng Cambodia?
Yes, sir. After ng laro namin for Korea, sir, babalik kami dito sa Pilipinas ng May 10 po, sir, at saka pag kinabukasan yan sa May 11 po, alis naman kami for Cambodia po.
Alright. Yung huling dalawang Southeast Asian Games, nag-silver ka sa iyong weight division. Yan ba ay isang malaking motivation para sa iyo? Dahil hindi ka pa nakakakuha ng gold medal, is that a motivation para sa iyo na lalo ngayon nabababa ka pa ng timbang?
Yes, sir. Yung nagiging motivate po ako, sir, kasi parang komportable ako na gustong-gusto ko makukuha yung gold medal sa SEA Games po. At saka pag makukuha ko doon, first time ko sa lahat na international na makukuha yung gold medal po.
So talagang ganadong-ganado ka na lumaban dyan sa Cambodia. And alam naman natin na ang pinagdaanan mo in the last SEA Games ay napakahirap. Elreen, kung ikaw ay tatanungin, anong mga leksyon na nakuha mo doon sa last 2 editions ng Southeast Asian Games? Ano yon na ngayon ay magpapabuti sa performance mo dito sa Cambodia?
Yes, sir. Yung ano po, sir, yung oras po, sir. yung oras po talaga.
Anong ibig mo sabihin sa oras, Elreen? Yung ginugol mong oras?
Parang ano po sir, parang mabibitin po ako sa oras. Tapos yung performance ko din dati dun, parang yung best ko sir, hindi ko talaga siya nakukuha.
Alright. Well, sana nga sa wakas palarin ka na para makuha mo ang minimithi mong gold medal sa Southeast Asian Games, and of course yung ma-improve natin yung 2 golds, 1 silver, 1 bronze performance ng Pilipinas sa Hanoi. Elreen, of course, at the end of all of this, after the SEA Games, yung qualifiers, Olympics ang ating pupuntahan, and sana nga ikaw ay makarating sa Paris. Ano ang sa tingin mo gagawin mong kakaiba para sa masiguradong mas mataasan mo pa yung 7th place finish mo sa Tokyo?
Yung ano sir, magte-training ng sobra-sobra po sir, tapos magiging motivated at ma-inspired sa ano po, sa sarili, at saka the more ko pa po i-improve yung mga buhat ko dun nung last Olympic po.
Well, mahirap pero siyempre ganyan talaga ang pinagdadaanan ng lahat ng atleta, and I certainly hope na ikaw ay mabigyan ng lahat ng suporta, hindi lamang ng weightlifting federation, samahan ng weightlifting, kundi ng buong pamahalaan. Elreen, ang mensahe mo sa ating mga kababayan na ngayon na ikaw sasabak na sa Asian Championship Games, and of course, sana nga ay makarating ka ng Paris. Mensahe mo, Elreen.
Sa lahat ng ano po, kasamahan ko na magko-compete sa Asian po, laban lang talaga tayo for the gold po.
All right. Well, all the best, Elreen, and we wish you a safe trip sa Korea and of course sa Cambodia. Sana nga ay maiuwi mo ang karangalan para sa ating bansa. Maraming salamat sa iyong pag-guest sa amin ngayong araw na ito.
Thank you po, sir.
Maraming salamat. Mga kaibigan, ng ating pong pinagmamalaki, and of course, double Southeast Asian Games silver medalist, walang iba kundi si Elreen Ando. Muli po, nagpapasalamat tayo sa lahat ng ating mga naging panaluhin ngayong araw pong ito, lalo na si Elreen Ando, si Quinito Henson, and of course, si Coach Charles, Carlo Pamintuan, at saka si Paolo Del Rosario. Well, mga kaibigan, bago po tayo magtapos, gusto ko lang pong i-announce lahat po ng mga nanalo sa ating Joyride Super App Top Up promo sa Power and Play. Ito po yung mga nanalo natin ngayong linggong ito. Congratulations kay Mark Anthony Balbuena, John Harvey Eco, Angelica Abulencia, Jobel Pascual at si Jen Morales. Lahat po kayo makakatanggap ng 1,000 pesos e-wallet credits mula sa Joyride Super App. Alright mga kapatid, that'll do it for us this Saturday edition muli ng Power and Play. A long weekend, ingat-ingat po sa inyong biyahe. Mamaya po, FIBA World Cup draw. At lagi po nating sinasabi dito sa Power and Play tuwing Sabado, bawal ang masungit. At sa lahat po ng ating gawain, ad maiorem Dei Gloriam, all for the greater glory of God. Kami po ang 1PH, teleserbisyo para sa Pilipino. More happy sports weekend mga kapatid. More power, more play.
Sa kapwa ko Pilipino, ipagmalaki ang galing na meron tayo. Ilantad ang likas nating talento at magdala ng saya sa mundo. Sa harap ng pagsubok ay di susuko, para sa pangarap tayo'y porsigido. Magpakitang gilas na at huwag magpatalo, ipagdiwang natin ang Pilipino. Yan ang Pinoy. Mula noon at hanggang ngayon, talento natin ang bida. Mula sa simpleng bakuran hanggang entablado natin ipakita. May pagsubok man ng Pinoy, pinalalakas ng saya. San man tayo sa pulo, Chumbe, Sibay, Lakay,